everyone. As Jeff said, I'm running as an independent, but I'm backed by the Australian Sex Party. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 29, I'm bisexual and I'm single. I live in Toowoomba and I have for over a decade. I completed high school at Gatton in 2000, moved to Toowoomba a year or so later and completed some tertiary studies in business and IT, plus doing other various small courses over the years. Currently I work full-time as an accounts admin receptionist for TRS, Refrigeration and Catering Equipment. In the past I've worked mainly in administration, but I've done other roles including stores person, cleaner, retail assistant and bookkeeping, and also volunteer roles with various community groups in Toowoomba, youth work and photography. Most of you sort of probably just gasped when Jeff said I'm running for the Australian Sex Party. Most people's reaction is, oh my god, they just said sex. I don't think that sex is necessarily a bad word, and definitely standing up for adult rights is a passion of mine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the mission statement of the Australian Sex Party so that you know we're not just here for the sex side of things. We have a lot of real sort of policies for everyday people. Okay. So the Australian Sex Party is a political response to the sexual needs of Australia in the 21st century. It's an attempt to restore the balance between sexual privacy and sexual publicity that has been severely distorted by morals campaigners and British politicians. Tolerance of sexual free speech and sexual expression is one of the main hallmarks of free and democratic nations. Intolerance of these qualities is one of the hallmarks of autocracies, dictatorships and theocracies. The vast majority of Australians are relaxed and tolerant of a broad spectrum of sexual expression, but state and federal governments have increasingly ignored this demographic and pursued policies and legislations that have restricted free speech and expression, often under threat of large fines and even jail sentences. The Sex Party is fed up with wowserism in Australian parliaments. It's frustrated by the lip service paid to gender equality and sexual identity by the major parties when real and meaningful law reform stalls on factionalism and behind-the-scenes handshakes with religious leaders. The party is registered with the Australian Electoral Commission and has signed its intention to field candidates at all levels of governments over the coming years. So, I'm a first for Toowoomba, I think. We tried to get into state parliament earlier this year, or late last year, and as Neil Rickmuller said, to become a party you need 500 members to, sign saying that they are members. Unfortunately, we didn't get that. I have the feeling that they were probably all too busy having sex, so we didn't get the numbers. So we're running. I'm running as an independent, but fully endorsed by them. Unfortunately, Bob couldn't get us in after that. We had to try and get it ourselves. So some of our policies are to do with censorship. We'd like to bring about the establishment of a truly national classification scheme, which includes a uniform non-violent erotica rating for explicit adult material for all jurisdictions and through all media, including the internet and computer games. Education. We would like to bring about the development of a national sex education curriculum as a first step in preventing the sexualisation of children. A recent article came out that children as young as 11 are being exposed to sexualised images, and we'd like to, put a stop to that. And we'd also like to develop a national internet education scheme for parents as well. Another policy that we have is equality, and we'd like to enact national anti-discrimination laws which make it illegal to unfairly discriminate against people or companies on the basis of job, occupation, profession or calling. Did you know currently in Queensland that the discrimination laws don't cover somebody discriminating against a past job that you've had? So whether you've been a priest or a prostitute, if you go to a job and you have been those in the past, they can say, oh no, we won't hire you because you were that. We'd like to bring about a uniformity to this. We'd like to bring out equal numbers in women in the Parliament through enabling the Federal Discrimination Act to have jurisdiction extending to political parties. We also have policies on health, the protection of children, workplace relations, religion and ethical issues, and drugs, euthanasia and abortion. I'd go back to drugs for a moment. We'd like the decriminalisation, not legalisation, of purchase, possession and consumption of all drugs for personal use, such quantity to be defined as an amount equal or less than 14 days supply for one person. I personally don't use drugs, but I think that it's more of a health issue than a criminal act. You know yourself, when you're unhealthy and unwell, you go to a doctor. Drugs is kind of the same sort of thing. When you're taking drugs, you're unhealthy and you're unwell. I've had that effect. Thanks very much.